Alongside Jamie McLennan and Frankie Corrado, and it looks like Carter Verhaeghe has just joined us. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
You've had a couple of minutes now, so what is this moment like?
It feels amazing. We grinded so hard in the last 2 years, going to the final last year, and this group is something special. I mean, it's such a team effort. Everyone's pulling the rope, and it felt amazing.
Did anybody say anything special before the game or in between periods, or was it business as usual?
I think there was a freedom to the way we played tonight, and everything was on the line. The last couple of games, I think we were kind of gripping it a little tight, and our group was never like that. And to play loose and have some freedom, everything on the line, it just feels like it was meant to be like this.
How much do you think you guys learned from last year's experience that you were able to carry over into this year?
Oh, 100%. Anytime you go deep in the final, and win rounds, I mean, it brings you so close, and you find out a lot about yourself and your resilience and what you need to do to win it. I mean, last year we kind of ran out of gas, and this year, this is our year.
There's a ton of emotions when you win the Stanley Cup, but nobody had won it the way you did since 1945. Amidst all the joy, how much relief did you feel?
There's a lot of relief for sure. It's something special that, I mean, it's so special with this group, and I mean, to do it in front of our home fans, how hard we worked the last 2 years, and it's just so special.
Carter, go celebrate.
Thank
Appreciate
you very much.
it.
Thank you.
Carter Verhaeghe. Can't take the mic with you, though. Carter Verhaeghe, now a two-time Stanley Cup champion. You can see the mayhem behind us. We hope to have more guests along. This is a special time for all the players, all the families are on the ice as the Florida Panthers win the Stanley Cup. And, you know, everybody leading in was talking about the Oilers trying to make history, but the Panthers make history of their own. As I said to Carter, nobody had won it this way. And, you know, it's amazing to come back from a 3-0 deficit in a series, but you might say it's equally amazing when you're facing all that adversity. You've lost 3 in a row and the whole world's against you, to be able to prevail in a game like this.
It is, and you could see, as he mentioned, in the last couple of games that the Panthers were tight. They probably didn't play their game. He used the word freedom. It's almost like they just said, let's go out and play hockey, and they played very well. Obviously, they focused on 97 and 29, shut them down. The goaltender was really good, but you know, the Florida Panthers, there's a reason why they've been a top-tier team the last 3 years. And you win the Stanley Cup, they're fantastic, and now you've got Sam Bennett rolling in.
Don't hit me too hard.
I won't.
Sam, hold that mic up nice and tight. So the last few seconds wind down, puck is stuck in the corner. Take me through your mind and what that elation is like when it finally gets to 0.
My mindset was just do whatever it takes to keep that puck in the corner, and
Were you right there? Remind me.
I was right in the corner. I didn't even hear the buzzer go. I turned around and started screaming, and yeah, that was one of the coolest moments of my life.
Was it hard for you guys to find the focus for Game 7, given the way the last 3 games had gone?
No, I don't think so. I think this was the most relaxed our group has been going into this game. You know, we finally played with a little more freedom tonight, and you know, that's what we needed to do earlier. But yeah, it's no surprise. Our team's gone through the hard all year, and we made it as hard as we possibly could on ourselves, and you know, I'm just so proud of this whole group.
This was the formula more like Florida Panther hockey as far as tight defense, get the saves from Bob. Is that kind of what the mindset was coming into the game?
Yeah, for sure. And you know, I think we were getting a little too far ahead of ourselves a little earlier. You know, we were a little more relaxed tonight, and we just got back to playing our game, and that's what got it done.
It's hard to believe it's been 10 years since that draft where Ekblad goes first and Reinhart right behind him and Draisaitl third and you're fourth. I don't know if you remember this. Remember when you and Sam and we had a little lunch at a diner, and then everybody was talking about how you couldn't do a pull-up because you'd been injured.
Oh, I remember, trust me.
And the journey from there to here is something, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is incredible. Yeah, looking back, you know, it's been an unbelievable journey, and I just want to thank all the people that were there to support me the whole way through I had some tough times, and you know, my support group just always believed in me. I always believed in myself, and you know, to experience this moment now. It's everything was worth it, and yeah, this is just a surreal feeling.
Yeah, you've had a heck of a run, and you deserve this ring. And by the way, Sam was the greatest sport ever. We went to a playground, and he did about 10 pull-ups for it, and now he's a Stanley Cup champion a decade later. Go enjoy it with your family.
Thank you so much, guys.
Sam Bennett of the Florida Panthers. Frankie, I didn't get your take right away on what you saw out there tonight in the Panthers' victory.
I think you could describe the Florida Panthers this whole season as no excuses.
Right.
Last year they ran out of gas playing against Vegas, and they had some guys that were going to miss the start of the season. Ekblad and Montour both missed the first 15 games because they had surgery. Like, it would have been easy for this team to pile up the excuses and say, we didn't have our guys, we weren't ready. Meanwhile, they put together an unbelievable regular season, and they basically steamrolled their way to the Stanley Cup final. They hit some adversity in the final, but still there was no excuses in the final. They found a way to overcome the Edmonton Oilers, who mounted a serious comeback, who were within one game of winning the Stanley Cup. They never let excuses get in the way this entire season.
Lots more from these two ahead. The other member of our panel, Darren Dreger, is out there gathering more reaction, and he's with Aaron Ekblad.
Aaron, talk about the mindset of this group, right? I mean, back against the wall to a degree, but the leadership, the experience was still there, and the mental toughness was always there going into Game 7.
Yeah, absolutely. It starts with Bob and net. He's rock solid. He came out, had an incredible game after I gave up a pretty brutal breakaway early on. So the fact that we were able to get that first goal, I think, was a huge momentum boost for us, and something we could lean on for the rest of the game. That we knew we could break Skinner at some point. He had an incredible series, and those 3 games came 4, 5, and 6. He was a rock solid as well, so it made it really tough on us.
You needed a big game from big game players, and you certainly got that. But talk about the shutdown role of yourself, the other players who had to focus on Connor McDavid and their top players.
Yeah, it's always a 5-6 man unit on the ice going against Connor. He's the best to ever do it, and he does it on a nightly basis. So that's something that Forsling and I and the whole back end were tasked with throughout the entire playoffs, playing against some pretty incredible players, and we got the job done.
Is this better than you expected?
It's everything you could possibly dream of. It's they always say you can't put it into words. You really can't. I mean, I just stopped crying a few minutes ago like a little baby. So it's a great experience. It's awesome.
How do you feel lifting the cup?
So that's one side of the story, and probably 100 feet from here, you've heard from the other side of the story in that dejected Edmonton Oilers dressing room. There's a reason that nobody's come back from 03 in the Stanley Cup final since 1942, because it's really hard to do, because you're playing a great team on the other side. And when you watch them tonight, do you think the chase of winning 3 in a row, did they run out of gas, or were the Panthers just a little bit better?
I think a little bit of both, but I would argue that the Panthers just, we talked to Carter Verhaeghe, talked to Sam Bennett, they both said we just played free. And the Panthers got back to the game that got them the 3-0 lead. More of a freedom game, physical. That's the one thing that stood out right from the drop of the puck for the Florida Panthers for me, is they played fast and they played physical, and Edmonton had a tough time in that first period adjusting to it. They adjusted in the second period, but overarching, I thought the Florida Panthers did a fantastic job. Edmonton looked a little bit snake-bitten, and then the goaltender on the other side, Bobrovsky, was fantastic.
And again, such a small margin, great chances at either end. But Frank, you said before the game that you wondered, remember when Florida had a chance to wrap up in Game 4 and they brought in all the families, and you could feel the anxiety of their first chance to win the Stanley Cup, and the Oilers win the game 8-1. This was the first time for the Oilers to do that. And when Jamie says the Panthers played free, was this perhaps the first time since they started their comeback that the Oilers didn't play as free?
For sure, and this is also really the first time since Game 3 that both these teams had the same distractions off the ice. The Florida Panthers had been flying their families to and from Edmonton for every game in anticipation of the Stanley Cup. This was the first time the Oilers had to do that. So not only did they have to deal with what was happening on the ice, which takes laser sharp focus and concentration, now they had to deal with everything off the ice. And really what it comes down to in these kinds of big games everyone talks about it. We want to push. We want to play our game. No one wants to talk about the elephant in the room, and that is, let's not make the mistakes. And ultimately, it's just a few mistakes.
Look, it's a Stanley Cup champion. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? You can hang it here and use Noodles, Mike. Or you can have one,
buddy. You want?
I was just thinking, the last time the three of us were on this ice together.
You ran me over with a Zamboni.
Well, look, I know you fell one win short in 2011. You win the cup a different way as an executive, but is the feeling as much as you'd hoped it would be?
Feels the same. You know, I'm invested in this team. Come to work every single day, and we try to put this thing together with Billy, and it's special, you know, just to see the team grow over the last 3 or 4 years. And last year we weren't sure what was going to happen. Then we snuck in and we got to the final. But this year it was a different feeling. You know, it was a different feeling for our group. And you could tell right off the bat in the first round that we were wired different, and that we've been there and we wanted to get all the way. And what a feeling! It's unbelievable.
Where was your range of motions in the last couple games as far as?
Well, I let it all out on the drum.
I said, if you beat Marchand the way you beat that drum, you would have had a ring 10 years ago.
There was a little bit different between Jack. Who was it? The guy before
Jack Nicklaus.
Jack Nicklaus and your intensity.
I needed to bring it tonight for the boys and the fans, you know. But
how was the intent? Like in the last couple games, obviously, leave them on the table.
Yeah.
You know, where was the feeling in the dressing room, even with the management group? Like how confident were you guys? Or was there?
Listen, we're not gonna lie. It wasn't easy. You know, those guys were coming. They were playing really well. And it had been nothing like we had seen before in the first 3 rounds. Like they were kind of taking it to us for a little bit there. So, but at the end of the day, we were confident in our group. You know, we knew they could get the job done. It was just a matter of regrouping, coming home, being in front of our home fans. I think the start of the game was huge for us tonight. We really needed to come out strong and have a good first period. We did. After that, we just played our game.
You know how everyone calls this a copycat league? Like, you guys made a lot of moves that other teams could have made, but you guys decided to do it. Like, you've watched your vision here come to life. How satisfying is that as a management group to see that happen and to get rewarded for it?
It's unbelievable. I mean, it all starts with Bill Zito, right? He's the one that made some of the moves that maybe a lot of people wouldn't have had the guts to make. You know, when he traded for Chucky and those guys. At the time, it was a tough trade, but, you know, it paid off. And, you know, we have a great group, you know, with management to help Billy out with decisions and analytics guys and trying to get guys that are at value, and that's what it's all about.
We had so many conversations during your career about all you wanted was a ring. And again, maybe back then you weren't thinking this way, but congratulations.
Thank you.
Roberto Luongo has a Stanley Cup ring as his Panthers do it.
Let's hug it out.
All right.
Congrats.
Congratulations, my man. We got it. And so here we are. Just a remarkable run by the Edmonton Oilers all through these playoffs.
Yeah.
And to get one win away. And now there's going to be immediate questions about the future and Draisaitl's future in Edmonton. And they're going to, in the end, they're going to have to do what the Florida Panthers did and find a way to get over this and come back strong. It's always said so tough to lose a Stanley Cup final and then come back the next year, but teams have done it, and now the Florida Panthers have done it. And no offense to Minnesota, Florida is a little bit of the state of Southern hockey anyway, right? With Tampa winning 2 and now 3 Stanley Cups in the last 5 years. Just a couple of words on the Panthers' victory.
Well, I mean, I thought they were resilient, and you just heard Louis talk about it. They were concerned, obviously, because the Edmonton Oilers were pushing. You could argue in those first 3 games that Edmonton, you know, deserved a little bit better fate.
Yeah.
The bottom line is I think the Edmonton Oilers pushed, but in the end they came up short.
Just a remarkable playoff run, a remarkable Stanley Cup final, but the Panthers have their first championship in their 30-year history.